the cross-examination of Magistrate Vivian Cronje in the Senzo Meyiwa trial is continuing in the High Court in Pretoria. Earlier, Judge Ratha Mokgoatlheng ruled that the audio recording alleged to be a confession by accused Bongani Ntanzi will not be admissible as evidence in court. Ntanzi allegedly made 2 confessions. He was recorded by Cronje while she was taking down his statement in 2020. We are now joined by legal analyst Kabelo Seabi to unpack the implications of this. Thank you so much, Kabelo, for your time. Just what are the implications of Judge Ratha Mokgoatlheng's ruling on Ntanzi's case and the broader Meyiwa trial?
Good afternoon. The ruling that was made today, it only excludes the audio recording part, but the written confession itself that was taken down by the magistrate, that is what is still the subject matter of the trial within the trial, and the judge will proceed to hear evidence as to whether the confession which was reduced on paper in a written way, in a written form, whether that confession should be admissible or not. The reason why the judge excluded the audio recording is primarily because the person who was making the confession had not been appraised of their rights. And one of the key rights in making a statement is that the person must be warned that if they proceed to make a statement, that statement may be used against them as evidence at a later trial.
All right, you've answered my question on what the specific rights of Bongani Ntanzi were found to have been violated. What are then the implications on this ruling on his particular case?
Look, the state was attempting to back up the written confession by getting the audio in, because if the audio was going to, it would have been a record that would state accurately what happened at the time that the confession was being taken. But now that the audio is not longer before the court or will not be entertained, the state will still proceed with the confession, as I said, that was taken down in writing by Magistrate Cronje.
Right.
And depending on the evidence that unfolds during the trial within a trial, the court may still come to the ruling that the confession in its written form is still admissible as evidence against the accused.
Right. Mr. Seabi, then the admissibility of the confession recording is a significant turning point, I would imagine. What strategies then can we expect from the defense and even the prosecution going forward?
I think the one thing that I picked up shortly before we went on air was that the defense seems to be suggesting that the person who was present during the taking of the confession, the person who was said to be the attorney, was not representing the accused at the time of making the confession. So it looks as if that the defense is adding another bow to the string. Their first departure was that the confession had been taken down because the accused was compelled. Now it appears as if it is being suggested that there was some sort of deception if this person who was supposed to be the attorney was not an attorney and was not representing the maker of the confession.
What steps then, should the legal teams involved in this particular case take to ensure a fair and just trial for all parties?
The scrutiny of a confession clearly is to determine that it was made freely and voluntarily by the person who deposed to the statement. Now, the state would need to make sure that it places evidence before the judge that shows that that benchmark of the statement having been made freely and voluntarily and without any undue influence is achieved by the state. And the defense, on the other hand, will be working at showing that the statement was not freely and voluntarily made, or that there was undue influence. And if the defense is able to demonstrate that the requirements were not met, that confession will not be admissible.
I would imagine, other defense counsels are monitoring this very, very closely. Just looking ahead, what do you anticipate will be just some of the major challenges and maybe key developments in this murder trial, especially considering this particular ruling?
The ruling on the issue of the confession is going to be very important, because if the confession goes in, if the confession is ruled admissible by the court, then it amounts to real evidence that the accused committed the offense. So it is going to be a very key feature of this trial as to whether that those confessions are admissible or are then excluded. That ruling will be very important both for the state and the defense.
All right, Mr. Seabi, thank you so much for your time and your analysis this afternoon. Really do appreciate it, shedding some light there on those crucial developments in the Senzo Meyiwa case. That is legal analyst Kabelo Seabi.